Lively hiring former CIA agents to help with her PR crisis is about as crazy as it gets.
She's quietly working with Nick Shapiro, the CIA's former deputy chief of staff and senior advisor.
Grab your girlfriends, wear your florals, and bring your CIA alum to your PR battles because Blake Lively has brought the big guns.
Blake Lively is losing, and she's still losing. It's like watching a slow-motion train wreck, and no matter how hard she tries, she just can't seem to catch a break. First, her so-called amendment to the lawsuit was tossed out like yesterday's trash. No evidence, no case. And just when you think things can't get any worse for her, they do. Instead of cutting her losses and moving on, Blake is doubling down, trying everything in her power to take down Baldoni's reputation and career. It seems like this isn't about justice anymore. This is about control. Blake Lively refuses to accept defeat, so instead of finding a way to actually prove her case, which she's miserably failing at so far, she's out here making moves in the shadows. And in a plot twist that no one saw coming, she's now bringing in the big guns. We're talking ex-CIA level big. She has officially hired a former CIA agent to help with her legal battle. And not just any agent. It's Nick Shapiro.
Lively hires CIA alum for crisis PR in legal battle with Justin Baldoni.
Now, let's talk about Nick Shapiro for a second, because this guy isn't just some low-level operative. Oh no, he's the former deputy chief of staff and senior advisor to none other than former CIA director John Brennan.
He is the CIA's former deputy chief of staff and senior advisor to former director John Brennan.
And if that wasn't enough, after leaving the government, he launched a crisis PR firm called 10th Avenue Consulting in 2015.
He has launched crisis PR firm 10th Avenue Consulting in 2015 after his lengthy tenure in the federal government.
This man has handled everything from the Obama administration's response to the H1N1 pandemic to the Sandy Hook school shooting, the Gulf oil spill, the Boston Marathon bombing, and even the Japan earthquake and nuclear disaster, and now the "It Ends With Us" controversy. That's not just a resume, that's a whole action movie. So the real question here is, why does Blake Lively need someone like this in her lawsuit? Because let's be honest, this isn't a national security crisis, it's a messy Hollywood legal battle. And yet, here she is, pulling out the kind of power moves that make you wonder just how desperate she really is.
And apparently they think they need to beef up their team, because they just hired this guy, Nick Shapiro, to help with crisis PR, who was formerly the CIA deputy chief of staff. So when you're now starting to pull in the big guns, I don't know if that means you're feeling too confident in your case.
Blake's legal team has been fumbling the bag left and right. They've run out of ideas, and at this point, they're practically scrambling to find a way to turn this around. Enter Nick Shapiro, the man with deep government ties and a reputation for handling crises. But the irony? Blake's team was the same one that attacked Justin Baldoni for hiring behind-the-scenes professionals last summer, claiming he was using a PR firm to sway public opinion. And now they're doing the exact same thing.
It says the actress's team was highly critical of Justin Baldoni's doing this at first. Remember, when he hired Melissa Nathan, Johnny Depp's team, they said, "Oh, here you go. Well, clearly this is a big problem."
The hypocrisy is astounding. One minute, they're calling out Baldoni for getting professional help, and the next, they're hiring a former CIA official who knows how to manipulate narratives for a living. The tables have turned so fast, it's giving whiplash.
The Duchess of Gaslighting knows that she needs help. Just this week, she hired a new lawyer to join her team that works at a different firm than her lead counsel, and now she's hired this crisis PR expert, alleged expert.
But let's not pretend Nick Shapiro is some neutral player in all of this. This is the same guy who signed that infamous 2020 letter claiming Hunter Biden's laptop had all the classic earmarks of Russian disinformation. And we all know how that turned out.
And that, my friends, is exactly why Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds have hired him, because he has proven that he is willing to lie without flinching, that he will straight up lie to protect his clients, he will lie to gaslight the public, and he has proven successful under that model.
The man has a history of pushing narratives, and Blake clearly thinks he's the perfect person to help her spin this lawsuit in her favor. But let's be real, What can he really do? Hiring a crisis PR guy won't magically erase the facts. The public already sees through the smoke and mirrors. Blake has been caught up in too many inconsistencies, and no amount of professional damage control is going to change that. People already see her as someone trying to usurp other people's work and pass it off as her own. And people are calling her a real fraud.
She's
I mean,
a
they
serial
sound reasonable.
fraudster. That's called fraud. When you pretend you want to do the one thing and you'll do the thing they're hiring you for, but all along you have secret plans to do something very, very different that's above your pay grade.
Social media is not holding back as they backlash against Blake and her team with their comments. One user wrote, "If you're hiring ex-CIA agents, you're clearly looking for someone experienced in lying and gaslighting the public." Another commented, "It's too late for PR help. It's done. Everyone knows how Blake and Ryan really are." And lastly, this one is particularly harsh. The decision by Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively to hire a former CIA crisis PR expert clearly shows their desperation to cover up any potential evidence of their misconduct. It reflects the extreme lengths they're willing to go to manipulate the narrative, mislead the public, and use underhanded tactics. This is exactly how they've treated Justin, trying to steal his movie and turn Sony and the cast against him. For me, and many others, every move they make just confirms their guilt and deceit. And let's not forget, she just suffered another major loss in court. Her latest attempt to subpoena Justin Baldoni's phone records was completely shut down. Her team wanted 2.5 years worth of text messages, but the judge wasn't having it. Another rejection, another loss, and yet Blake keeps throwing more money and more people at this case like that's going to change the outcome.
As we know, the self-proclaimed Khaleesi was seeking the phone records of Justin Baldoni and his team. And Baldoni said, "Hold up, we are entitled to our privacy." And the judge seems to have agreed. The judge said, "Hold up, Blake Lively, too many teeth here. They don't get to dig up the phone records dating back to December 2022 when the alleged smear campaign didn't happen until August of 2024. So she has to make some tweaks and narrow her scope a bit.
At this point, it's almost sad. She's fighting so hard to win a battle that seems to be already lost. But yeah, innocent until proven guilty, nobody can change that. And the worst part? She's only prolonging her own suffering. This lawsuit isn't going anywhere anytime soon, and she knows it. March 2026 is still a year away, and until then, she has to sit with the consequences of her own actions. And when all is said and done, what will be left of her career? Who in Hollywood is going to want to work with someone who pulls these kinds of stunts? The court of public opinion has already spoken, and let's just say, things aren't looking good for Blake. At this point, all we can do is watch how this whole drama continues to unfold. Because one thing's for sure, this Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni legal fight is far from over.